Welcome back, everybody, to BD Sports Puck Pod, episode 31. I don't,
Right.
I don't even remember. We talked about it, and it's already gone out of our head. We have the passion. Me and Dave have the passion. Even Brian has the passion. The Leafs freaking did it. They won a goddamn round after 18 years. The
Oh,
passion that unites us all is here. It is freaking here, man. Dave, I slept like a baby. I'm sure
oh
you did
man.
too.
Oh my God. I was this close to having my thumb in my mouth like a adult child. Like so close. I slept that I know 100%. If the Leafs lost that game, that would have been hands down one of the worst sleeps of my life.
Oh
Hands down.
yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to stop thinking about it. Look at that pessimism right there.
Yeah, this is
This is
we
a
gotta throw it
time
out the window,
for
man.
like insane optimism. The Leafs did something like I think we said it the last time we were on here. Christian, and Brian were 4 years old the last time the Leafs did the thing. They won a round. Like that's how low the bar was. You want to talk about inept like sports franchises? The Leafs have to be up there because how do you go almost 20 years without winning 4 of 7 games in a playoff series? Like, oh my God. Thank,
Put
thank, thank, thank God. The
put the
monkey,
streak this way, man. The streak was what 18 years old. This thing could have traveled to Montreal and it was
yeah,
legal enough to go buy a drink. That's how old the streak
yeah.
was, man.
They could have that streak could have went to New City Gas, had a good time, end up at a hotel somewhere in downtown Montreal. And he would have had stories to tell his like grandkids, right? That's how old the streak was. So old that he could have legally had he probably could have if he started if the I don't know why I'm saying it's a he streak, but if the streak started the day that it turned 16 to
Yeah,
go get its license in Ontario, he would have had
yeah.
a full license by now. It was only
Oh
two
boy,
years, right? That's
this guy
really
is
all you need.
this guy was on the road. He was having drinks. He probably even got into some bars with his fake ID. If he was growing up beard, he looked all right, and he just got in the bar. Like my, my God. My
Oh
God.
man,
But the streak is done. We're
it's
starting
done.
a new one. I don't know what we're starting, but today's day one. A new beginning, a new
I,
era.
I I
The
do have a
passion
question for you
era.
guys. I do have a question
Yeah,
for you guys.
go.
Dave, you mentioned Montreal, and
Oh,
you guys obviously beat Tampa, but you guys also lost Tampa. Is the pain gone? Like, are you guys like?
what the fuck is pain, man? I don't know what pain is,
Yeah.
bro.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
so I know what you're gonna allude to, Brian. And
Yes.
you're gonna say what I know you're gonna end up saying is it worth like was it all worth it just for
Yes.
that one
That's what I
round
was gonna
win?
say. Yes.
Like because Bri, I think you have more in common with me and Christian, and Caps fans in general have more in common with Leaf fans than they might want to admit, right?
Yes.
Um
That's fair to say.
listen, one other thing just before I go off on another tangent. So many people last night were clowning on Leafs and Leafs fans for how they were celebrating. You know what? Stick it up all your asses right now. Don't tell another fan base how they cannot celebrate, especially after almost 20 years of futility. Just zip it. You know what? Actually, keep going online and keep commenting. I want to see those Twitter fingers going because you know what it is. That's just salt. I love that saltiness. I love all my meats salted, nice, nice, nice. I love that salt. Give it to me. Actually, give it to
I
me. Nobody else. Give it to
I
me.
also love the impressions, but the Twitter impressions.
Pretty
But
good.
yeah, it's done. 19-year streak or an 18-year streak. You guys sacrificed number 19 going into the season. Jason Spezza. We saw his reaction. I also just wanted to
Man.
you
Wow, Bry.
sacrificed him this season for this. He took the bullet. He was he was the sheep that gave away his career for this moment, and it was worth it for you guys. I also just want to point out one other thing that I noticed. Who got the assist? Who got the primary and the secondary assist on the game winning goal?
It
In the
was
year of
a
our Lord 2023, it was number 23, Matty
Yes.
Nyes, the
big
rookie,
rookie.
the god. He's
And-
undefeated in this arena after losing an NCAA championship. He lost in
Yes.
overtime and has since been on the ice for 3 overtime wins.
Oh man,
Hell
4-1
yes.
when he's in the 4-1 when he's been in the lineup.
The record is
4-1.
4-1.
4-1, baby.
Poetic.
Another one, eh?
One more thing that I just wanted to point out, or I was alluding to at least, Morgan Riley,
Yeah.
longest tenured, I
God.
believe,
Oh
assisted
yeah.
to the shortest tenure to the captain. So that's
Yep.
pretty poetic, I'd say. So,
That's exactly how it is.
It was incredible. It
And-
was incredible.
and before I let you guys just take it away, because obviously, like, I'm not the Leafs fan. I have the least emotional attachment to this. Dave, I brought out. Yeah, I watched the game with Cristian last night, and I brought out this magical fleece made in Indonesia, and I only bring it out when it's absolutely necessary. It's currently undefeated this season, and I believe it has like
baby.
it's 1-0. Okay, I'm not gonna put it on because that's voodoo, but
And you didn't put it on last night.
That is bad juju. I won't lie.
there
Oh,
you go.
It's
man.
a Leafs
I brought
jersey.
it out.
Brian
So
owns
clean.
a Leafs
You
jersey.
guys are only allowed to call it out if you absolutely need to in the second round. But when you guys call it out, it will
Only
be
in
there.
bro.
elimination games. That's what we're gonna do. Okay,
Sounds good.
That's the rule. It's
Right.
1-0,
If they make it far enough, will you consider putting it on for an episode?
I can't. No.
What?
If I put it on, it takes away the magic because we're out of the playoffs right now.
That's true. That is okay.
I'm
fair.
telling you.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Man, like I don't even know. Like this is for us. It's only been 30 episodes, right? We haven't like I don't even think we've even fully experienced the futility. If the one person right now I'm like I want to shout out is Steve Dangle, dude.
Never heard of him.
That guy has been making videos for 16 years. What is it, 7 straight round 1 playoff series?
Yes.
Like, shout out to the dedication on that, man. Like, I don't even think we could even fully like comprehend how much like that means to somebody like him, as much as it means to us, and as much as it means to the rest of Leaf Nation. Like, oh my
Like,
god.
there's
Like,
We just
no,
don't
where
even
do
know
we
how
start?
round 2 works, man. Like we thought maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, after round 1, maybe you just win the cup, and now we're finding out there's this thing called round 2. Oh crap! What the
Oh,
hell's
man.
that? Like Steve, at least he's got some good memories. He's got the 03, 04. He's got some of those. We got
Yeah,
nothing. We
do.
we were yes, we were alive for 03, 04. We're no consciousness. So like our age is like honestly, we had the longest drought without any success
Yeah.
at all. Nothing to be fond of, really, that we personally saw with our eyes. But
True.
there's no gatekeeping any Leaf fan that wants to celebrate this.
No.
This is incredible for everyone. If
Yeah.
you just
Old
started
and-
cheering a week ago, I don't care. Freaking
old and
enjoy
young.
it.
As young
Yes.
as they possibly can. Like, yeah, this is for everybody, right? So I mean, I would say, in terms of entertainment factor, I think that was edge of your seat action. But as a neutral, I could understand why maybe you didn't really enjoy the entertainment part of that game. That was a clutch and grab type of hockey game. You can tell as soon as the puck dropped, there was an air of tension between both teams. For Tampa, you have 3 straight cup finals, 2 before last year, 2 straight Stanley Cup wins. This would be they were on a I mean, besides that, so their cup final streak was on the line. Like, anytime you make it to like 3 straight cup finals, you want to keep it going as long as you can. So, and they were pushed to the brink, right? So, and for the Leafs, that it felt like that era of, can it happen again? You know what I mean? There's always that possibility.
But
It
the
just
thing is,
it felt like it crept in for a little bit, but the Leafs had that determination to keep it close, to persevere, to whatever adjective you want
whatever,
to describe a strong hockey team as.
however you want to describe it, Dave, the best word to describe it is Kingslayers. These were the giants for the rest of the league. The last team to do it was Columbus, and that happened like 4 years ago, so long ago. Like, and you guys took them out in the first round. You know,
Well, I mean,
we-
I guess
is
like
Colorado last
Colorado,
year.
Colorado would have been the Kings
Colorado
later,
too, but like they're
but
still in the final.
that was in
you
the
know?
Cup
This is the first
finals,
time they've
right?
lost consecutive series since who knows when, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I think a good question to ask, because even when they weren't winning cups, they were winning first rounds. Other than the Columbus year, they were in like conference finals and stuff, right? So to see them go out in the first round, that's just been a rarity for them in this era. I didn't get to see the very start of the game. I was still driving home from work, so I was listening on the radio. What I heard a lot though of Dave was big save Samsonov, big
Mhm.
save Savvy.
And that was all game. All game
all by far his best game, by far
of this
I
of
thought.
this series.
Yes.
I would have to agree. I think just
Honestly,
in terms
better
of
than the game 3.
This is the best
For me
series of his
personally.
career, and this is the best game of
Yeah.
his career.
He-
Like
Probably.
in playoffs.
He rose to the moment, smile on his face, I'm sure. And I thought he was structured. He was steady. He was calm. Didn't see him go for too many swims.
Nope.
Personally, from what I observed, he was a huge part of this win last night. Huge part.
And the only goal that beat him, you can argue it wasn't even his fault because someone left the man open. But that's not even something that's not even something people are gonna remember anymore. It just people are gonna remember the
Hell,
saves
That
he
is
made.
the footnote in like Leafs.
Footnote of the footnotes.
The footnote of
Yes.
the footnotes, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the probably one of the biggest footnotes now
Yeah.
for Leaf fans.
He
But
even
yeah.
you can argue that he's the Kingslayer. He beat Vasilevsky. Russian goalie
Yeah.
versus Russian goalie. This was a theme going into it. You know,
That's gotta feel good, man.
There was a lot of that type of feel, right? Like okay, we'll start with this. 91 v 91, right? Captain versus
Great.
captain.
It's a great parallel.
Steven Stamkos, for anybody that doesn't remember, the couple years before I think this would have been the year that Willie was drafted, or was it the year Mitch was drafted?
This was the year that Mitch was drafted. Going into that summer, yeah, because we didn't have Austin yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that because that would have been the year of real pain. Like that was the tough.
This was the
season.
we just hired Babcock. Lamorello is in. Let's talk to Stammer. That was this is the year. Yeah.
So I don't think I'll be honest with you. I sincerely don't think he even gave it a shadow of a thought. You know, Steve Stamkos the year prior had made it to the Cup Finals with Tampa, where they lost to Chicago. But it's always like a good idea to try to tempt the big name free agency who's from your hometown to come to play for your hockey team, right?
he rejected that so fast.
You know what? In hindsight,
and the rumors about it too. Oh,
yeah.
Like the meeting, the Canadian Tire thing.
Oh yeah, dude. In hindsight, that is one of the best things that he could have done for his personal. No, I think it's one of the best things he could have done for his personal career, right?
Okay, from his perspective, yes.
In hindsight, now 7 years later,
two
cups, 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals as the captain for all of it, right? Like
breaking franchise records.
But one thing he doesn't get is the moment to lift his childhood club to the top of the hockey world, and that's something another captain.
We're not at the top yet, though. Hey, yeah, we gotta get to the top. But I know
for that moment,
take your 2 cups and everything over first round win.
Give us our first round draw.
But for that moment, for that nice hour or two after,
sure,
you guys were on top of the world, and who was the one that was led you guys there? It was another 91, another captain from another team,
Pajama Boy himself, man. I saw that pajama pic posted across social media at least 15 times. Like if it was 15 times, that would have been a generous number. Like I mean, I saved it again too. So man, like
how is anyone allowed to bring up his contract again? Like ever?
No,
this is it. It's paid off in full. Paid off in full.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's his contract and it's Morgan Riley's contract now. Like those two in particular, they turned their play up. I mean, John was maybe a little bit quieter than the other guys, I would say, but that's also not to say that what he brought on and off the ice is nothing to shake a stick at. The guy is a captain through and through. I don't think that could be disputed anymore, at least for this team. Like he was the one that got them through. the last time a Maple Leaf captain won a playoff series was Matt Sundin, right? 2004. So for John, for Morgan, for Austin, for Mitchie, did I say all 5 of them? For Willie, oh my God, I'm
Willie.
sorry, Will. For all of them, like just no more with the contract talks. Just enough with it. Whatever happens. Let these men make their money. Just enjoy the product on the ice. That's the biggest takeaway I have to say for all of Leafs Nation. This is house money now. Most of us have a good chunk of us have never seen this far into the playoffs with the Leafs. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the moment. I
Dave,
don't
you're
even
on
know
that.
if
You're on the take that it's on. That this is house money.
at this point it is because it's
That's
been 20
interesting.
years. It's
That's
been 20 years,
interesting.
bro. It's got to be
Just
house
look at the
money.
core. I mean, look at the era. This
Yes.
is the farthest we've gone in this era.
But
Mhm.
Right?
the comparable I have is the Kuznetsov ending Pittsburgh in 6. This is direct. I remember feeling when Kuznetsov scored, the feeling I had after was, okay, great. I want more. Give me
So-
more. Give me
So
more.
I think the next series in question, I don't even know if we want to like I'm gonna be going all over the place. I literally cannot think straight right now.
No, it's fine.
I'm literally just gonna start saying thoughts of whatever comes to the top of my head. The next round will be
Well, we'll know
very,
tonight.
very interesting, right? Yes. So we will end up knowing tonight.
So
Game
excited to
7,
watch tonight.
Game 7, Florida and Boston. Man, oh man, that's gonna be a doozy. I saw
Must
a lot of
watch.
Leaf fans, in front of Maple Leaf Square yesterday, going, "We want Florida." No,
I'm
that's
not. Yeah,
that is not who we
no.
want. That you guys, Leaf fans. Again, I was praising you before. I'm gonna reprimand you guys again. I'm gonna reprimand you guys right now. Be better than that. We want Boston. I've got the colors out right now. We want Boston, guys. On this playoff run, this season, how many streaks or like running jokes have the Leafs broken?
Like
We'll start off.
every single one of them except for this one.
We will start off a couple weeks ago. Jed Alexander, ATO, amateur trial goalie, the E-Bug. He gets into the net and technically picks up the win for, against Montreal. So that breaks the curse
David
of
Ayres.
the E-Bug, right? The David Ayres E-Bug curse. That's one off the list. The next one we've got is hands down probably one of
Easiest
the worst
joke
days,
in the book.
one of the worst days of my life turned into one of the best days of my life when they reversed the 4-1 collapse, right? They scored 3 goals in the third period in like 10 minutes. They went in overtime. They do the Boston. They do the 4-1 thing. That's another one. Check that one off the list. The next curse that's broken is the round 1 curse. The almost 2 decades long curse that's broken. Check that one off the list. The next one that needs to be broken is the true dragon of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins, with that same core. The only players that are missing from that core that battered us in 2013 is really like Milan Lucic, right? Those other guys were like side pieces. I don't care. Matt Barkowski. I don't care about any of those other guys. Of the core pieces, Bergeron, Marchand, Krejci, no Tuukka Rask, whatever. That's another one I forgot. But those 3 alone, like, that's
a good take.
They must have single-handedly caused the rates of therapists across the greater Toronto area to go up by at least tenfold, dude. Get there and rub it in their faces. I don't want to rub it in Florida's face. We already went to Florida. We went to Florida for the past 2 weeks. You guys don't have a nice tan already? Let's go to Massachusetts next. Let's take down the real dragon of the Toronto Maple Leafs in that 3-headed monster that they have. And let's keep going. Let's keep this party going. This is the roller coaster. We're still going up, baby. We're not coming down. We're still going up.
And And
Man,
Dave,
The dream ride for any Leafs fans, like it's like, okay, you can create your dream scenario for the Leafs to win the cup. You have to go through Boston. You
it's gotta be
have to,
Boston.
right?
Boston's got to
You
be in
have
there.
to.
If it,
I
if
would
it
have
wasn't
said
first round, it has to be in
yes.
there.
And this is like a film where it's like you've got the villain, or everyone thinks the villain is round one, then the villain dies, and he was actually killed by the true villain,
Yeah.
Bruins. Yeah, it's like, oh, he's back. They're back.
It's the Tampa Bay where the Tampa Bay was the shadow puppet for the Bruins,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You guys ever watch what was it?
Yo.
Was it Iron Man 3, I think? Where they had the bad guy, but he actually wasn't the bad guy. It was like the Mandarin. I just remember
yes,
like
yes.
that was the first thing that went to my mind for that. But and it wasn't the Mandarin, it was the other guy. I forget his name, but you know, that's what I want to see, guys. Like, listen, as I can respect the Panthers as much as the next person. What they've done this series against Boston, I think, has surprised many, many, many people. Shout out to big boy Matt Tkachuk. What a season he's had.
Shout out to Paul Maurice for his incredible press conferences. They're
Shout out to Paul
hilarious. I
Maurice.
love him, man.
Shout
Like
out.
on the Panthers front, I said this to Brian basically like 5 minutes after we did the thing. Like, Brian, this John Tavares fellow, he's done this before. He's done this before against the
done this before.
Panthers. What was that? 2014 with the Islanders, round one. John Tavares scores an overtime goal on Roberto Luongo to
My
end the streak
God.
of the Islanders, winning a
Yes.
round, first time
That
in
was-
I think 23 years.
That was that was in the 20s. I was like 20.
Yeah.
I was almost 25. Like that's
Yeah.
fully able to drink across the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're drinking in the States.
This man has a full-time job. Like, he's rolling in the dough. He's practically John Tavares himself, man. Probably JT was, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 years older than the streak when he did that. Try to guess,
If he
right?
wasn't the same age, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, been there before and done that for this guy.
So, you guys have the chance of playing either Boston or Florida. You know, as a Caps fan, I realized something. Samsonov has a little bit of a gripe with both teams, both Florida and Boston. So either way, I hope Sammy can get his revenge on one of the teams. I just want to let you know that Verhaeghe has Samsonov figured out, though. So good luck with that.
Hey, we might get the
Dude.
revenge of Carter Verhaeghe too. So
Yeah, it's
Oh,
true,
that's
man.
right.
Who
That's
knows?
right.
There's good storylines either way. I'm
Yes.
not gonna like listen. What's like Dave said, the dream run. You go through the Bruins. If you want to just do pure storylines, everything, give me the Bruins all day. It'll be incredible. Even as a neutral to watch that, you want Toronto Boston. That's what you're cheering for.
Yes,
100%.
100%.
But you can get so many storylines out of Toronto, Florida too. Dude, literally Matt Tkachuk is a walking storyline. That guy will write storylines for days with his antics. So.
Oh, and if you don't think Brady Tkachuk's going to be at one of those games, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Matt Brady and Keith in the stands.
Oh, I can already write the storyline for Matthew Tkachuk, though. The best American from the 2016 draft, who's gonna winner gets the title, right?
Ooh.
Winner of the series gets it. And it's gonna be interesting though, because now that you guys have this win, are you guys complacent, or is the team gonna get hot? And if they get hot, are they gonna steamroll? But on the flip side, if it's Florida, are they gonna continue to upset? You know?
You can't take them lightly. You cannot take
You
them lightly.
can't.
Like Dave said, that we want Florida thing. Like that is not the mentality that like a Stanley Cup aspiring fan base needs to have, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
It's you can either cheer, we want the cup, which sure, everyone wants the cup.
Or let's go
Or
Caps or whatever.
Or we want anyone, throw anyone at us. You can't really cheer that, but that's the mentality you gotta have. I don't care who we play, freaking win.
Yeah,
and that's it.
It's also the mindset of no matter what, if you're gonna win, you have to beat everybody. You can't pick and choose your battles. You just have to win your battles.
Yeah.
You beat whoever's in front of you, right? And listen, and I don't want to be like, that was last night was a moment of celebration for everyone, and I could tell it was like the feelings and your thoughts got in front of you. You weren't thinking clearly. They had a mostly Canadian stand at Maple Leaf Square. I could only imagine what some people were doing with that. Listen, I get it. Don't worry. I was a couple of them deep yesterday too. It's fine. It's just don't, exactly like these guys said, whoever is in front of you, that's who you have to beat. I don't want to pick and choose my battles, but if I did have to pick and choose, it would be the Boston Bruins, right? It would make it, I think beating Boston
Makes it
personally
sweeter.
would be so much sweeter than beating Florida. And I would love to beat Florida as well. Don't get me wrong. But man, it's Boston. Can I read you guys out? So this is from Luke Fox on Twitter.
Jukebox.
Luke Fox Jukebox on Twitter.
Love that. I love that.
Maple Leafs core 5 put up 42 points during the series. Marner, 2 goals, 11 points. Matthews, 5 goals, 9 points. Riles, 5 goals, 8 points. JT, 4 goals, 7 points. And Willie, who out of those 5 had the quietest, still had 7 points in 6 games with 2 goals. Like, man, for anybody who, in years past, I think that there was reason in years past to say, the guys that make up well over half of the 5 guys that make up well over half of your cap situation need to be better in order for the team to win. I think this series went as far as any, and I don't even think they've necessarily been bad in recent runs. Maybe 1 or 2 of them
right or wrong, they're gonna wear it though, right? Like when you lose, your core wears it.
100%, right? But this series, it felt like all 5 of them were just on the same page. They knew what the stakes were if they couldn't get it done, and all of them were over a point a game in this series. And what more can you ask for, right? Like, that is why they are your team, the face of your team, right?
Dave, do you know by chance what Tampa's top scorers were?
You know what? I do have that tweet. Give me 1 second. So at 5,
it's just the fact
I have the
that
5-on-5 from last night. Oh no, this would have been all series.
Yeah,
so I have another
series. Like, if you just have the top scorers of the series, it's the 5 you said, followed by O'Reilly with 7 points as well.
Yeah.
Those are the top scorers in the series, both teams. So the Leafs had the top 6 scorers in the series. The leading scorer for the Tampa Bay Lightning was Anthony Cirelli with 6 points, and he was also tied with Kucherov with 6 points. Those are their leading scorers. So
and that's
we had the top 6 scorers in the series. Kucherov had a goal and 5 assists for 6 points. Cirelli had 3 goals, 3 assists.
Who's like, that's over. Did he not have 50 this year, or did he have 40? I think he had goals? 50, right? Goals?
I don't think he had 40 goals, but he was over 100 points. He was assisting, stammering, point to the end of time.
Oh, his point that had 50. That's what I'm
point with 51. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so at 5-on-5 all series, Kucherov only had 2 assists. So that means 4 of his 6 points, or 3 of his 5. What was it? 5 points that he had?
6 points. 6 points.
So that means 4 of his points came on the power play, which is, that's still good. 2 assists for point only, no goals. They both had under 50% for expected goals. And I think any time that those 2 were on the ice, or at least like that top line was on the ice, Jake McCabe and TJ Brody were stuck to them like pigs on, like I don't even know. Those 2 alone did one hell of a job for as much as, like we could say like TJ Brody may not have had the greatest series in terms of what we saw before from him. Maybe he couldn't just elevate it for this series. Hopefully next round we get more of a convincing show from him. Yeah, I want more of a convincing show from TJ Brody, but what they did all series is they locked down those 3 in particular at 5-on-5, right?
Yes, and one thing I do want to see is how injured were the Bolts. Point did not look, like Point.
Yeah. What is Victor Hedman's injury status right now?
Because that's the one that happened in game 1, and when I saw that, I was like, "Why is he coming off?"
I think it's probably going into the series. Honestly, I don't even know if it was in game 1. Actually, no. They said it was a new injury, didn't they? They might have.
They could be lying.
Yeah, potentially. So the theory is that it's a knee thing. So.
And speaking of knees, I want to hear how bad the Jeannot injury was.
Yeah, a lot of people are clowning Tampa for the trade now, which I mean, clown because that's what you do. You lose a series, you're gonna get clowned one way or another, right? You take it for a day, and yeah. He was injured. Like I know people were saying he was like healthy scratched. Yes, he was playing in the games, but that's not Tanner Jeannot at full impact. Not that he's been incredible this season, but I like he wasn't healthy scratch. I don't feel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
He's definitely a guy when he's 100% healthy
You
who's
notice it
able
better.
to
he's in the
elevate his,
lineup.
he can
Yes.
elevate his game too. Like his style of play matches the playoff style of play almost to a T, right? So when you don't notice somebody like Tanner Jeannot, there's probably something, not well with him, right? But the good players also play through that type of stuff too, right? So like I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh man, what a terrible, terrible trade. Like, listen, at the time we knew it was an overpayment. Like there was no
Yeah.
debate about that. But yeah, to see that from that Tampa side though is like, what do you? As a Leaf fan, I'm happy 100%. But if I was a neutral, I could see where the argument does come from though.
And at the end of the day, if you're a Bolts fan, this is you like look at your team in the past decade. You are the one team, the one franchise that has no right to complain. One bad trade after how many robberies, how many great trades, one bad acquisition, and at the end of the day, like every dynasty has to fall. Everything comes to an end, and this might be the beginning. But then again, next year, you guys are probably gonna be back at it again.
Dude, I'm looking at their cap friendly right now. I was a little
They're all
curious.
locked
Like
up.
they've got a lot of guys locked up still. The biggest name that they're gonna have to resign is Killorn. And he's maybe due for a little. Actually, no, I don't even know if he would get
But he'll probably
a
get
pay
less.
raise. He's
Does
33.
he
He had a
resign
monster season. Uh,
or does he
Tampa's
do
got
a
a
lot?
he might get outpriced. Yes, some team might value him. A young up and coming team like I don't know if Buffalo would maybe be interested. I could see that as a really good fit.
What
I
about
don't
like
know. This is
Seattle?
off season
I was
talk.
thinking Seattle too.
Yeah, he would totally fit in the Seattle thing, right? He's 33, so I mean it's probably like a 3 or 4 year deal, maybe like 5 million. Like if you guys look at his season, he had a really good season. I think it was over 60 points. So he's been really freaking good. Um, but outside of that, your other guys are okay. Russ Colton's an RFA. He'll make a little bit of coin, not nothing crazy. He'll break the bank. Belmar and Perry are UFAs. I'm sure you at least try to get them back. If they don't, like this isn't I don't know, from the fourth line that we saw this series, it wasn't the end of the world if you can't keep it together. Perry was impactful, but even he faded as the series went on. Um Isamont might be a underrated one that they got to resign. He's a free agent. I think you try and bring him back on a cheap little deal because I think some other team would sweep him up.
You
He fit
put
the
him on
Lightning
that third
system very
line.
well.
You put him on
Yeah,
that third line with like Ross Colton, man. That's that it was him, Colton, and Nick Paul, right, on that third line.
it's a beautiful third line. I
That's a
like that
very
a
good
lot.
third line. That
And
might be one of the best.
yeah, on defense, the only guy they're losing is Ian Cole, which I think they're okay with, very okay with. So listen, like the end of an era, perhaps, but until they don't make the playoffs or lose another series, they're very much still a good team, man.
Yeah, until they finish in
For
a
all we know,
lottery.
this team improves somehow. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yes.
lottery. Yeah,
Until they finish in like a lottery position, I'm not counting the Tampa Bay Lightning
no,
out, dude. Like,
So
no.
one question I just want to ask you both is like it's kind of a sweeter question, but out of all of the guys you picked up, who has won your heart the most? Because you guys made a lot of trades this
Yeah.
trade deadline. So
yeah.
who is the guy that really stood out to you and you guys watched him and you're like, okay, this guy has to be on this team next season. This guy has to stay.
I have two
Eric
answers.
Gustafson. No, I'm joking.
Hey, you know what?
Nothing against him. Nothing against him.
He had an okay game. Like, coming in. That's a tight position. We will.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into that a little bit after because I think that's a big storyline.
Yes, we will talk
Cristian,
about
do
that.
you have your answer? Because I have two.
I think
I want to
it's
You have
split
one,
it.
Dave.
yeah.
No,
Dave, okay, so Dave,
listen.
I feel like I know where you're gonna go, and I think you know where I'm gonna go, and like we're both in agreement on both of our players. So you take care
Okay,
of
wait.
your personal. Like I think we're good. Like this
Is
is
it
name.
Riley? Oh, Riley and Shen.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
I will
Yeah.
take Ryan O'Reilly, I guess, because
Sure.
you know what he on paper stood out the most, right, out of all of the acquisitions.
100%.
Had that big goal in game 3, he scored in game 1. He scored in game 1. You know, he was right off the bat a leader by example, right? He knows what it's like to be there. He's been there before. He's been there a couple of times, like, you know, on nice runs. Man, Ryan O'Reilly absolutely elevated his game. That guy was a monster all series. Nobody could take the puck off that man. That man had the
Doesn't lose
puck
puck battles.
glued to his stick. That was like watching like we talking soccer, Bri. Like guys who's like where the ball like just sticks to their feet. That was literally Ryan O'Reilly all playoffs.
With the puck. Yes.
With the puck, yeah.
And it's not like he's silky smooth with it or anything. He's a lumberjack. He's chopping dudes sticks and whatever, and he just comes up with the puck, man.
Fit that mold of guys that you would think to have, you know, not even like soft hands, but like
decisive hands. It's just calculated moves, right?
Yeah,
it's efficient movements. It's great, but I don't even think that's. I think his best asset is the guy's brain. This guy is cerebral as hell. First of all, the man does not take penalties. It's not a thing for him, and it's not like he's a guy who's afraid of contact. The dude has no visor, right? You want to get in a scrum with Ryan O'Reilly? I don't think you do, but he is so disciplined, so aware of where the puck is, always on the defensive side of the puck. He's always back. I know he listen, he was on the ice for a bunch of goals against in this series, but when he steps on the ice, I feel so comfortable, right? Just eases any worries about like defensive gaffes, right? If the puck's going in, it's not his fault.
And you said
face-offs.
Yeah. This guy's clutch. He's clutch.
Oh my God. World's greatest firefighter, putting out fires left, right, and center, man. When we needed a goal, he was there. When we needed a big defensive play, he was there. Always.
And before we get into your second pick, Luke Shen, well, Christian's pick or Dave's pick actually, or whatever.
Our pick.
We're just gonna go to
all of our pick. Yeah. Your pick too, Bri.
I was gonna say Samson.
That unite us all.
I was gonna pick O'Reilly and Samson up, I'll be honest with you. Because Sammy's up, I believe. But
sure.
Okay. So that's what you mean by acquisition too, right? From the
new this year, I guess.
Season? Yes.
That, right? Okay. Well, dude, then at that point, Matthew Nyes is part of this too, man. Right? Like you can even throw him in there, dude. There hasn't really been well, I don't know. Like you're looking at fourth liners. Yeah, that's the only one that you can quibble with. But the run's not over. He can still have his moments.
Yeah, that he's just been thrown under the bus. Maybe he's gonna have to come up big in next round. Who knows, right?
Yes,
and that's the beauty of it.
You go on a run. There's going to be injuries. He probably draws back in at some point. His story isn't over, and the guy still has a contract next year. People forget that. They think that he's a rental. He's not a rental. He's making 1.15 next year. He's going to be probably back, and as a fourth liner, he can do that. He can do that.
Yes.
I don't think we've seen the best of Lafreniere.
I'll tell you what. Let's continue. We are back. Sorry about that. We said go on a quick little break. Let's talk about Luke Shen.
Luke Shen. Luke Shen, parallels. The guy was around when this was the slogan, okay? When the passion that unites us all was the damn slogan. That's how long that guy has endured. Well, he hasn't been here the whole time. I'm saying that's how far the connection to Leafs goes back. This guy, we've always done like the storylines and whatever, all of the waxing poetically about him, but just as a hockey player, that guy, once again, same thing as O'Reilly, decisive. The dude has made up his mind in advance on every single play. We do not give him enough credit for his ability to just actually make a play. Like you don't think of him as a guy who can really not have soft hands, but he knows how to juke a forechecker and make the right play under pressure. So many times we saw this guy in the corner having pressure come up and keeping the puck, holding on to the puck, taking contact, and just still coming up with the puck to make the right move because the guy doesn't get knocked down. How many times did we see a guy try to hit Luke Shen, bounce right off him, and end up on the floor while Luke Shen's still standing? So many times. Clears the net front beautifully. And once again, he can actually make a decent pass. Yes, he ices the puck a bunch too, but he can make a pass. And honestly, offensively, once again, decisive with the puck. If he's going to shoot, he will shoot right away. He's not making his mind up 2 seconds later. As it's just something that I haven't liked from some of our defenders. But man, that guy, we brought him in as what? A 6'7", and he was arguably our number 2 all of a sudden the expectations we had of Luke Shen being drafted as a top pairing defenseman were there, baby. We're there after what, 11 years?
Yeah, just like, yeah, like was 12 years later, like, or no, we've been 2008, we've been like 15 years. That's crazy. I remember watching that guy literally went up to the stage, basically getting coronated as the next savior of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
And it ended up being that. The prophecy was fulfilled.
You know what?
It's
Yeah,
just a little
it
longer.
came a little bit later than a lot of people thought, but Luke Shen really brought out the best in Morgan Riley this series. With Luke Shen there being the anchor on that defensive line,
Open things up.
it really opened things up for Morgan Riley, and it allowed Morgan Riley to excel at what he does best, and that is putting the puck on the net, making great plays at the line. So I want to say thank you to Luke Shen for
Your service.
Morgan Riley should definitely be thanking Luke Shen, and the parallels with those two on the ice together. Man, you just couldn't write the script any better. You have the 2008 first round draft pick, 5th overall, with
Yes.
the 2012 4th overall draft pick or was he 5th as well, Morgan Riley?
I think it was
Fifth.
Same pick.
Griffin
Exact
Radhart
same
was 4th.
pick too.
Yeah. Dave, I want to ask you this. You said rewriting the script. Does Justin Hall get a chance to rewrite the script anytime during round 2? Yes or no?
Injuries are like there's got to be injuries, man. There's no way. I feel like he's drawing back in as soon as there's an injury. I think.
Is he gonna see games in round 2? I think so. I think that 11-7 format worked to a T for the Leafs last night. They had the clear objective of just finding the break. That's all it was. I think like a lot of people want to say that the Tampa outplayed the Leafs for most of this series, right? And that is probably true. I think last night though, we got to see what I would consider to be the Jose Mourinho park the bus special. That was the Leafs just playing defense and looking for a quick break. That was to a T the park the bus special. Like I can't even like describe it any better. Like that's in my European football brain, what the Leafs did last night was nothing short of just amazing. Like that was a true defensive masterclass from them.
You could tell that they tried to, keep pucks out of their net more than they tried to win. But when they got the goal, and then that was it. So going into round 2, do you guys want to see 11-7? Is that how you guys want to start it with the exact same lineup?
I think you gotta wait to see what the health parts are. I know I keep throwing this caveat out, but they've earned themselves a couple of days of rest here. We're gonna see how rested up they can get, and it probably does depend on the opponent, right? I think it does. Listen, you definitely get a little bit more offensive ability with Gus or Liljegren in there. Breakout pass they can make. I don't know what I would go with, to be honest. It's a really tough decision, I'd say. I think this is one where you just trust the coaches and whatever. I don't even really have an opinion, and I think they've obviously been scouting Florida and the Bruins now for a bit, and they have an idea of what they think the optimal lineup is. I guess you got to see it in action before trying to make any switches. I guess so. I'll leave it up to them.
I think that Lily in particular has earned at least one more game in this run, right? I think it's unfair if you threw him in for that, that clinching game just immediately to take him right back out. And I'm not suggesting that they go back to 11-7 again to start off round 2. I think the 11-7 tactics are fantastic when you are playing in a clinching game. I think that was the piece that the Leafs were missing where it was instead of trying to win the game, it was try to close out the game. If you know what I mean, make your luck when you have the chance to make your luck, and that might not always be the right tactic 100%. And I get it. I get all the
it's the classic try not to lose until you win.
yeah. But I think for the Leafs, it was more important. Like I think only they could have pulled some, not that only they could have, but that had to be done from them. They had to make sure that they didn't squander the opportunity by allowing cheap goals and then give themselves the chance to win when they had the break, because they have the talent to break, right?
All these things sound exactly like what was happening to the Leafs, and I brought this up last time we talked. This is all the stuff that was happening to the Leafs in past series against the Bruins and last year, right? We thought the process was going well. We were outscoring the other, or we were outplaying the other team at 5-on-5. All of the grades, those advanced stats looked great for us. Things should have been going better our way. We were controlling play, and yet the other team was coming up large. Right. So it's not that, listen, this is not a foolproof formula. Oh, get outplayed by the other team and you'll win the game. No, obviously not. It's bend but don't break, as I think, right? That's
if that was the formula, we would have
Blue Jackets winning the cup.
We would have had
boys.
Oh, yeah. Oh man. The Leafs would have had a cup back in like 2008 when Luke Shen was around or something like that.
Randy Carlyle would be a two-time Stanley Cup winning coach.
At least.
I'm just looking at the time on ice spread from last game. What do you think that Liljegren and Gustafsson played? Because me and Brian were paying attention to see when Gustafsson would come out.
Gus got like 3 minutes.
I
really think that's 6.
So when Stammer scored the tying goal, they had
Gio
said
and Gus.
That was Gio and Gus, right?
Yeah.
But they said that Gustafsson in particular had only had 10 shifts. I think that was his 10th shift up until that point. And that was that midway through the third? Middle of the third, more or less, right? So
4 minutes into the third.
4 minutes into the third. So I'm gonna say that I legitimately don't know if he played another minute after that. I'll be honest with you. I think Gus probably played like 7 minutes and Lily maybe 10.
7 to 10. 7:38 for Gus and 10:30 for Lily. So yeah. Who do you think had the most time on ice for the Leafs defenseman?
Oh, Jake McCabe.
Yeah, by 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Morgan was second with 20. Actually, no. So Brody was second with 23:44. Morgan played 23:01. Jake McCabe played 27:22. Shout out to Jake McCabe. I thought he played a pretty good game. I did think there was a couple shifts where he got caught out there, especially one in the third where he was dead.
Yeah.
And he couldn't make a play.
That was a noticeable. Like he had a couple of plays where it was like you could tell it was starting to weigh him down, but that shift in the third was like, please, for the love of God, just get it to somebody who can play the puck.
I was screaming at him a little bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was too.
Dude, I can't believe we didn't even bring up Jake McCabe as people that we're happy with from the deadline. Like, how the hell did we forget Jake McCabe? This guy.
Here's the thing with that, right? That's another one. Like Brian said, Sammy in terms of acquisitions. We brought up Matthew Nyes. Dude, that's 5 or 6 different people.
The only other one we didn't bring out was Achari, who we love too.
And Noel Achari scored twice this series. Like he was fantastic all series.
That's 2 times more than Pierre Engvall.
He had Oh yeah. I think he has one. I think he has one right now, Pierre Engvall. But that's one in 22 games or 23 games, whatever it is. Noel Achari, 8 hits last night. So that's 6-7 different players who you could have said any one of those 7 names, and I would have been like, I see your point. I understand exactly why you said what you said, right? There are definitely more obvious. I think the most obvious answer in terms of all around stats and everything has to be Ryan O'Reilly, though. But you can make a case for all the other players, right?
So one player that might actually not be on your squad next year is Michael Bunting. You know, the leash was around his neck. It was noticeable last game. So do you guys trust him going into the next series?
After what I saw yesterday, yes. I thought we saw a guy really determined to not lose his head. Dave, I was talking to Brian and the rest of the boys over. Like, there was one scrum in particular. I want to say it was near the end of the second, might have been in the third, where Bunting was the guy trying to take a Tampa Bay guy and take him out of the scrum. Like, no, 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 we don't do that here. No fighting here. This is peace, love and peace from Michael Bunting. That was
Michael
hilarious. And
Bunting.
at that point, I said, he knows. He's welcome back,
Yeah.
Michael.
Michael
Welcome back.
Bunting
You're in the fold.
flipped the script and he's now a hippie at Woodstock 69, right? Like love
He's
and
now a
peace is in the air.
peacekeeper, man.
So the one thing I will say about Michael Bunting is I think Michael Bunting is at the peak of his powers when he's able to have that leash, right? You're taking away some of Michael Bunting's on ice powers, I think. Like, because I would have to say it was a quiet all-around game, not in terms of just Michael Bunting, the talker after the whistles, but in terms of his time of like his style of play on the ice. That was a person who was reprimanded. Have you guys ever been reprimanded or like, scolded by your teachers in school?
Yes.
I actually served 2 months in jail. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
So
I
immediately after you are let off the hook by your teacher, what are you going to do? You're going to go right back to that same, like whatever you were doing before?
Most students, yeah.
Most depends on the teacher. You got to be an effective teacher.
That's true.
That is very true. But I would say for the most part, most kids would be like, you tell them once and you probably don't hear about it for a little bit, like not immediately right after, right? It probably takes them a little bit of time. So maybe in round 2, we start to see the fire again from Michael Bunting, but that was a player who knew what his role on the team was. And that was, like you said, Cristian, to help them win. And by doing that, you take away some of Michael Bunting's effectiveness. But I think that's exactly what the team needed last night in particular. I don't think that's going to help them in round 2. I think we're going to need to see some more of that fire, but he has to learn how to walk the line in terms of that, right? He can't do something stupid again like he did in game 1, because that 3-game suspension turns into 6, maybe more. That's going to be a long suspension if he does anything remotely similar and stupid as he did before.
So Dave, for you, 100% he's in the lineup.
100%, 110%. I'll go on record now and I'll say I'm sorry to Michael Bunting. I was one of your biggest fans heading into this playoff series, and I let one game and one lapse of judgment change my opinion on you, and I'm sorry about that. But I think it was also fair on my behalf to have that judgment on you because of everything leading up to it.
We have emotional baggage with those situations. That's what it is. That's what it is. If you're a different fan base and this happens, right? Like
if you're Tampa Bay and Pat Maroon does that, are you like, it's like, yeah, exactly, right? But because it's the Leafs, because it's Michael Bunting,
there's a history there.
Michael Bunting had probably one of the longest running storylines on this team all year, right? It was him versus the world, it felt like, for many parts of the season. And
more importantly than the Zebras.
Yeah, well, that's the world for them, right? It's the Zebras and head office. They clearly don't like him. I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here. Did you guys see who hit Andrew Cogliano from behind? Was it Jordan Eberle?
I actually haven't seen the play yet. I know he fractured his neck.
Okay,
we saw it yesterday.
Brutal.
It was Eberle.
Brutal.
Yeah, he's got no
brutal.
hearing.
He got a 2-minute minor for that, for boarding.
Do you know if did they call it a 5 and bring it down to a 2? Do you know?
No, they called it a 2 on the ice.
Oh, that's really harsh.
You know what I mean?
Harsh by the officials.
So that's where I'm going to draw a parallel. It's not just Michael Bunting versus the refs. It's Michael Bunting versus the refs and NHL, like the NHL
George
as
Parros.
a whole. Yeah, George Parros. Yeah, 100%. Maybe even goes higher than George Parros. I don't know, but there's clearly a vendetta going out against this player, and that's maybe I'm a bit biased about it, and I'm sorry for that, but I feel very strongly that there is a bit of a bias, and it's just because it's the Leafs. If Michael Bunting was on Seattle, let's say, maybe he
Highly
gets
possible next year.
maybe he gets more of a benefit of the doubt. Hey, maybe it is possible next year. I think
Uh,
now though, with Bunting, wherever he goes, it might be the same story for him. You know what I mean? Like once you have that tag, I don't know if it fully leaves you until you repent your prior sins, right?
50 Hail Mary. No, yeah.
So
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
So one last thing I just wanted to ask you guys this is, or not really ask, but I just want to let you guys know this. Steven Stamkos, John Tavares, we talked about this earlier, the rivalry, the storylines between the two. When they walked past each other in the line, you could see what Stamkos said to Tavares. Did you guys see what he said?
I was too
No, I
busy
was too
almost
busy
crying.
screaming.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, he said, keep going.
Nice.
Keep her
You know what?
going. Hey,
Keep-
number
Oh
91,
man.
keep her
Oh man.
going.
Steve, don't make me like you again, dude. I casted you out of Markham before.
Dave said you have been banished from the GTA, Steven. You are
I
no
said go
longer
live
allowed.
in Michigan if you want.
Yeah.
Don't
And
come back up
Oh,
here.
and
man.
the reason I bring that up is because are those the words that you want to tell this team? If you had to tell this team anything, one sentence, a one-liner, would it be keep going, or would it be something different after that performance?
I think that sums up whatever you could say. That probably sums up exactly what you want. And don't tell me that other players around the league, you know, a lot of these guys, I would say well over 50% of the NHL are guys from Ontario, right? All around Ontario, especially Southern Ontario. Don't tell me that they don't understand what this means. For a lot of them, you know, I've said it before, dude, Dougie Hamilton is in a Maple Leafs playoff hype video from 5 years ago.
This is like the Bible of Leafs hype videos. Okay, this is the
Yeah.
origin story. This is
This is the
created.
one that hypes us
Yes.
off, let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know, he's in one of them. You don't tell me that Steven Stamkos doesn't know what that means
He
to
understands the gravity.
this team. He
Yeah.
definitely does.
No, we're not
Did
saying
he want,
he went home and he put on his Leafs jersey and said,
yeah.
"He did it," but
Did
he
he want to
gets
lose?
what it was.
Did he want
Yeah.
to lose?
No,
Definitely not. He wanted to win.
obviously.
It's always better to win, right?
I was
But
gonna
he
go the same
understands.
direction, Dave. Like people in and around the league. So also this is another thing, right? Like fans, obviously they love to make the jokes about the Leafs losing in round one. And we probably hear a bunch of it from within the league too. Right. You know, when like Pierre LeBrun does this anonymous, like, here's what coaches and execs have to say about the Leafs, right? You know, when he does that.
Yeah, trade
And sometimes
Nylander
it's like,
for a bag of pucks. Love that
yeah,
one.
it's like the Leafs still haven't got it right in round one, so they got to blow it up. There's definitely a lot of executives or just people in and around the league that make those jokes, but secretly they kind of wanted us to win. They kind of said this is enough. Like for the
Yeah.
in the name of hockey, let a team that has good players win stuff. Right? I think they do want to see that. And I think a lot after last year, it went from a funny joke to almost like sad
Yeah.
for Leaf fans right around the league. Just like, okay, we get it. This is the 6th year in a row that we're making the same joke. Please let them like. Can they at least finish this joke off? Like we got lots of other jokes. There was always going to be 1967 until there isn't. So we can let go of the round one jokes. So yeah, I think keep going is something that probably even not players, but just like GMs or execs that understand what Dubas has put in. We haven't even talked about Dubas or Keefe yet,
God.
but like I think they understand that hey, these are good dudes in the game of hockey who have done good things, who have made right decisions and haven't been rewarded at all for them, and probably unrightfully scolded by decisions in the past or not even things out of even their control, right? So just to have a little bit of hockey justice, and I know that's tough to say when you're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs because we're like people kind of think of us as the Yankees, right? So this is the evil empire, but strip all the context of the team. Just you look at the construction of the team, the players on the ice, and you say that team deserves to win a round. And goddamn, they finally did it. So keep going because it's deserving of that too, right?
So you mentioned Kyle Dubas. Is this enough to get him re-signed?
Oh my God!
No,
Listen,
man.
100%. He can write a blank check
Yeah.
to any team, not just the Leafs. Whatever he wants, you give him. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. To be honest, I don't know. Like, if we're not going to pay him, somebody else will. And like I said, we're the Yankees of the league.
We'll
We
pay.
can pay him. We can
Yeah.
afford him. Right?
Open up that checkbook, guys.
Open the
If
vault.
MLSC got guys like Lorenzo Insigne coming from Napoli, like on
Yeah.
$30 million, I think over the next like 5 years. Oh, dude, they're
Who's more
opening up.
valuable to the team, Insigne or Dubas? Right?
You know what I mean? 100%.
It's like the arbitration things. Dubas goes into his meeting for arbitration. He's like, my comparables are Lorenzo Insigne. I want his
I
money.
want his money. Give me that. Give me that deal.
Yeah.
Dude, is there anyone in Toronto right now or anywhere, any Leaf? Okay, to go as far to say, is there anybody as relieved as Kyle Dubas is?
Yeah,
Relieved
Sheldon
yet
Keefe.
pumped up. No, Dubas more than Keefe, man. Relieved yet pumped up. That Dave, that scream, yeah. I thought he was gonna like tear a
burst
pectoral
of blood
muscle,
vessel,
man.
dude. Oh, dude,
Oh
I
my
thought he
God.
was popping something 100%.
Not even
that
Specs was that hype.
Pure, unbridled. You brought up before, I could only imagine what if what we've heard, annoys us to no end. Could you imagine Kyle Dubas's peers and what they say to him, to his face, or guys around the league? He knows much more than us, and he gets a lot more shit thrown at him than anybody else. That was 5 years of Kyle Dubas just letting it all out. It finally happened for that man, and that's another person who I am beyond ecstatic for. I feel happier when I see people that I love getting more excited than I am, because I know I'm excited. I could only imagine what it is for other people. I love to see that, dude.
Two questions, Dave.
That's a two.
Oh, sorry.
Man.
Go on.
Oh my God! Just inject that one scene.
How do you frame a video? How do I do that?
I'm going to pin it up on my wall. Just
like Harry Potter, bro. They have like the picture frame. Harry Potter has like a picture frame of his parents on his nightstand.
Somebody make
like
that
them
real.
dancing on the ice. I need that, but for the Leafs, Tavares' reaction and everyone with I sent you guys in the chat. I sent with the Celine Dion song in the background. I need that. I need to frame that. I need to frame that. Two questions here. First question. One word to describe Dubas's reaction.
Primal.
I think it's vindication. Vindication. Prime was a good one too. That was a primal reaction. That was like, if you remember when like rage rooms were like a trend at one point, kind of like escape rooms now, where it's like, you just don't break shit.
If you're telling me that Kyle Dubas didn't go after like the Montreal series to go just mollywop some old light bulbs, oh my God, you are out of your mind if you think
that was his rage room last night. Not rage because it wasn't bad, but like that was the same type of reaction, right?
Yeah.
He's got to feel so vindicated. This is the same guy who said we can and we will. We could, and we did, right? And so also, Dave, if you could just say one sentence to Kyle Dubas, like what would you say to Kyle Dubas?
Thank you.
That's a great one. That's great. I would say, you're such a fucking hero.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'd say to Kyle
Dubas. Fan
Dubas.
feels like right now.
Not a fucking hero.
I'll tell you that right now. Wherever that guy is right now, he crawled into a hole.
Right. Kyle Dubas, you are such a fucking hero.
You are such a fucking hero, Kyle. Dude, there are so many avenues and storylines that we could go. One of them I do want to touch on. At the beginning of the broadcast yesterday, one of my childhood heroes appeared on TV. The rated R superstar.
Wait. No, seriously.
Edge was Edge is like no, Brian, you must know that Edge is like a huge fan.
No,
He's a big
I
Leafs
knew that
fan.
he's a big like Leafs fan, but he was at the
Yeah.
he was on the
He's
broadcast.
on the broadcast.
Yeah, he
at
was
the
featured
game.
like on the Hockey Night in Canada opening
I
that you can
missed
watch
it.
on Fubo. Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
get on Fubo early enough,
You
Brian.
were
I
not.
didn't
Yeah,
though.
that's
I missed it.
okay.
No, man.
So
Great for Adam Copeland. Great for him. Man.
Edge and Cristian were both at the
Yeah.
game yesterday.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that. I
Oh,
didn't see
dude, I'll
this
send
'cause
you the
like I said,
picture
I was
after.
driving, so I heard the opening and knew it was Edge.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right, because Kyle Bukauskas interviewed him, right?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I
Damn.
didn't know that Cristian
They should have got
was there
Cristian
too.
on there too. The fact they
Yeah.
didn't get Cristian on there too. Oh my god,
But is Cristian from Toronto too, or was
They
he?
both
No,
are, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting confused with Jericho because Jericho is the Winnipeg guy.
Jericho's from Winnipeg, yeah.
Yeah.
So Edge and
Yeah.
Cristian both grew up in Scarborough. They went to high school together and stuff. I know they lived together for a long time. And one of their best stories is that they used to get into full-on fistfights playing NHL 94. Because supposedly the both of them were insane at that game because that's all they did. It was wrestle, workout, and play video games. And
Not a bad life.
they told this story where I remember hearing a story from Edge saying, there was one of those days where they like flipped over tables after a game, and Cristian had to walk out onto the streets of Scarborough, and Edge in the pouring rain, mind you, Edge had to track him down in his car and was like, dude, it was just a game. Come home, man. Oh my god. And you know what? Ugh,
They have the passion.
they do have the passion. Or like it did so much for me seeing Edge. At first, I grew up adoring Edge. That's a guy who's put his heart and soul into everything. Getting to see
He had some adversity too.
the team that he grew up cheering for put their heart and soul into winning a round. Like, wow. Again, just to say that.
He's seen more than us. He knows. He
yeah.
can tell. It's like the Stan Witness commercial. I've seen great things, but I am jealous of what you will witness. We might actually witness it now, Dave. Oh my god!
Put that commercial back on TV, please. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Waterworks after that, but yeah. So shout out to Edge and Cristian who were at the game for that.
Yeah, I think Edge is also a Devils fan, right? So he might.
Obviously he says that. I don't think so.
Yeah, in his heart of hearts, the passion is what overcomes that. Yeah, but
well, you know what? There was a reason why he was in Florida instead of being in New York that night. So
it's true
because they did play at the same time. But yeah, but Dave, is there anything else you wanted to say? Anything else you wanted to go over?
Okay,
I have some game stuff before Dave does some.
Yeah.
I feel like Dave's going to give us a nice, he's going to end this really nicely.
I
just want to shout out some more passion stats here. Okay, block shots in last night's game.
I'm taking Shen.
Okay. Lightning had 19, Leafs 29 block shots. Okay,
love that.
Great to see.
Passionate.
29 passion blocks. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Matthews. 4 blocks from Austin Matthews, leading the Leafs forwards by no one else had more than 2. Okay. Shout out to Mark Giordano, 5 blocks. Jake McCabe, 4 blocks. Every single defenseman other than Liljegren had multiple blocks in this game. Shout out to those guys. Luke Schenn, 0 giveaways, 4 takeaways. Beast. Absolute beast. And those were all in the defensive zone, right? This is the guy putting his stick on the boards and saying, thank you for the puck. Morgan Riley, 1 giveaway, 5 takeaways. Those two, just what a pairing, man. What a pairing. Yes, those were the passion stats brought to you by The Passion. Hashtag the passion that unites us all. Did I mention passion? Okay.
Passion.com.
Yeah.
Dave, you got anything else?
Okay. So the past couple of days, I was at work, right? Before game 5, I thought to myself, I was like, what am I going to say?
This is what you're thinking about at work?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm making pizzas,
Brian,
dude. I can't do it. What else am I doing here?
Okay.
I gotta analyze where I'm putting each piece of pepperoni. No, I'm thinking about the Leafs.
This one's for Austin. This one's for Willie. Yeah.
So
but no, don't serve any pizzas on the ice tonight. Yeah, that's the name.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I mean, Justin Hall did, I think, after that night. But So I said to myself, I was like, what do I want to come out and say?
Yeah.
One of the biggest cliches in not even just hockey, but for all of sports, it's a team sport. The cliche is play for the guy beside you. That's not what I wanted to say. I think if they lost, I would have worded this a different way. But the Leafs last night, every single one of them played for themselves. Now that might sound very like that could be interpreted as something negative, right?
Selfish.
But I think selfish, exactly. I think it's a positive. All those guys, growing up, what position did you want to be in? Everybody grew up wanting to win a Stanley Cup. That last night, okay, wasn't the Stanley Cup, but for Leaf fans, maybe that was that round.
It was a mini one.
That was the monkey off the back, right? So let's make that comparable. You wanted to get to that position. How did you get to that position? How many times did you wake up early in the morning, drive across the province of Ontario, whatever province they were in, the state, out in Europe? How many times did you wake up early in the morning to go to some cold fucking rink just so you could play a game? You had to wake your parents up. They come with you. You guys go for a Tim's run or go for a coffee before or after. How many times did you do that? All of that led up to that one moment last night. You did it for yourself. Not for that win last night. Wasn't for me. It wasn't for Cristian. It wasn't for my family who are diehard Leaf fans. It wasn't for Cristian's family who are diehard Leaf fans. It wasn't for the millions and millions of Leaf fans across Southern Ontario, across Canada, across the world. It wasn't for them. It was for you. And I'm talking as in you, as in the individuals on that ice, the 28 of them or whatever, the whoever stepped out onto the ice, it was for them. They did it. Play for yourself. And that's the one thing I want them to take into the next round. Keep playing for yourself. The dream has to be realized if you play for you. Don't play for me, play for you. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
I want to say this, Dave. You might have a ghost because the door behind you just opened. That's one. That's one. Two. Okay. So you guys got the first four. Next four are even harder to get, but it's even sweeter when it's accomplished. Then the next four after that, the 12, are even harder, but it's even sweeter once you get that. And the last four are the hardest. Are you guys ready for it? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm all in.
Oh my God, man. Let's go. Let's freaking go. When is the date? When is game one? When is game two? I need to know every single date.
Game
so
one of the Stanley Cup Finals. When is that? That's what I'm marking down.
Before we do our shout outs and stuff, I just want to ask Cristian, David, did you guys snipe tickets? Because I think like did you guys
I think
snipe
they're
tickets?
already sold out. I've been no, Dave, I think they're already sold out, bro. I've literally been looking during the podcast. At least when I saw, there was a pre-sale for season ticket holders. And from what I saw, there was 4 packages of 2 tickets left, and they were like $500. Those are probably gone now. There's supposed to be another 2 p.m. release. I don't know if there's tickets that they kept for that release. We shall wait and see. They'll be expensive for Leafs Nation as usual, but
it'll be worth it.
Shout out to Mark Giordano as well. That was the first time he got out of round 1. Just wanted to say that as well. Shout out to TJ Brody. First time he's beat Corey Perry in a playoff series, and I think it took him like 6 tries. Shout out to those guys.
Also, shout out to Razor and NHLShop.ca. If you want to get your John Tavares jersey, I'll give him this one this time because he's got the game-winning goal. Yeah. Shout out to John. If you want to get your John Tavares jersey, NHLShop.ca, links stuff down below. Shout out to Fubo where you can watch the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I believe that they'll be covering every single Leafs game. We'll see. But until then, see you later and thank you for listening.